What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob Restituto, and today I think I'm starting a new series. We'll see how far it goes. The idea of the series of album reviews, different than album reactions, where I'm not listening straight through to the album. I'm just kind of giving a review of it. And the idea came from the fact that, I hurt my foot and I'm on crutches now for the next couple of weeks. And previously, prior to hurting my foot, I'd be going on these nice long runs in the morning, and when I was on these runs, I would listen to new music, or music that was new to me. I would intentionally go and put something on that I've never heard before, and listen usually through the whole album, because that's the length of a run typically, or just new artists that I've never discovered, whether they've been around for 50 years, whether they've been around for 5 minutes, and just listening to new art. There's a quote that I really like. I don't know if it's this exact quote or not, but it comes from the Rick Rubin book, The Creative Act or something like that. And essentially it's just saying, art begets art. So what that means is, like, as you expose yourself to new art, it creates new art in you. You're adding inventory to your creative, warehouse, if that makes sense, and then you can pull it out when you want to use it. So the more that you feed yourself creatively, the more you can actually create. It's like having creative energy, giving yourself creative energy. So that being said, I can't run anymore. So what I started doing is I have all these Polaroids. You can actually see them right here. These are all filled. They have 4 different boxes filled with just Polaroids and Polaroids and Polaroids. In fact, like, here's just one box. You can see how many are in. Like, tons and tons of Polaroids. This whole wall over here is all filled with Polaroids, and I want to start hanging these. So what I did is I have hanging them over here, and I started listening to new music when doing so. And I was like, you know what? Let's make this a triple whammy. Let me hang the Polaroids. Let me listen to new music. And let me, after the fact, think about like an album review and just talk about the album. So a couple days ago, I listened to Bob Dylan's album, the 1997 album. I think it was called Time Out of Mind. But I didn't really have it with the intention of recording a review. So this time I listened to Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. It was inspired essentially by the fact that I hurt my foot, and some people brought over some food for my family, which was really, really kind of them. But there was 2 11-year-old girls with them, the daughter and a friend, and they were talking about Olivia's new album, how excited, how much they liked it, and how just all about it. And it was really interesting to see just how young they were, but how much they loved her music. So it really inspired me to want to hear, like, okay, like, why are they excited? What are they excited about? And I went and listened to. I had already heard Vampire and Bad Idea, right? But I wanted to hear the rest of the album, so I put on the album yesterday. I was hanging this. You can see this line of Polaroids was being hung yesterday, and so I figured I'd talk about it. So the main things, I'm not necessarily going to go down and track in order, but one of the things I want to talk about is the I want to say originality. Actually, I want to even start before that with a quote from the album, what's it called, the Apple Music section of the review, I guess, by Apple Music, talking about the album. And one quote says, this is quoting Olivia, essentially saying, trying to write an anticipated follow-up album, as there's been a long time, and she had finally realized, this is Olivia speaking, all I had to do is make music that I would like to hear on the radio and that I would like to add to my playlist. And I thought that was really interesting, because you can hear that in this uniqueness of the album. And what I want to say by that is, like, it doesn't necessarily sound like anything else. I hear a lot of influences. For example, there are very, very whispery style vocals that really remind me of Billie Eilish. Obviously, it leans more towards the pop punk singer songwriter, depending on the song, and piano versions of singer songwriter, rock guitars, or pop punk. Leans very pop punk, but it's very different in the sense that it's the way that it's produced. Like, we have very heavy guitars, which is pop punk, but the way that the vocals are mixed, you have a lot of layers of vocals, which you don't usually hear in pop punk. Pop punk, you hear a lot of this straightforward one layer vocal. Maybe you'll hear octaves, but we hear a lot of like these doubled or tripled vocals, where it's like heavy left, heavy right, and maybe split up the middle, or just heavy left and right, which is just really interesting creative choices that are really different than typical pop punk. So like, it was just kind of cool. Like, it had honestly, to some degree, it had this youngness to it, which I don't want to say it as a derogatory way. Like, it had this, let me rephrase it, a youthfulness to it. Whereas pop punk's been around for 20, 30 years at this point. So that there's a sense of, like, it just has this distinct style. So what she did, I feel like, is add this youthful style. It's playful, I almost want to say, because you see her perform, and she has this to some degree playful style of just her personality. And I think that kind of went into the music, which is really unique. You could really see her personality coming out in the music. Another thing a quote I wanted to talk about, it says that if Sour, this is again from Apple Music, if Sour in part was the sound of Rodrigo picking up the pieces of post-heartbreak, Guts finds her fully healed and wholly liberated. And I to some degree agree with that. It's really interesting. Like there's like this defiant power behind the album. And what I want to say that it takes the pop punk esque sound of Sour and amplifies it tremendously. It becomes this mature, fuller sound, which is really cool, kind of aspect of it. Talking about a couple of tracks, we'll just highlight on a couple of them I thought were really cool. Getting Back is a really catchy track, really interesting. That one had some, like, I mean, the three that I'll talk about have some really, really cool lyrics. And I just thought that was really cool. Grudge, I thought was really, really interesting. There were two that I actually, after listening to the whole album straight through, there were two that I went back and listened to again, and that was Grudge, and that was the other one was Logical. But just a couple points on Grudge. A couple parts of the Grudge reminded me a bit of Driver's License, some of the melody structures and stuff. But some lyrics that were cool were, like from the chorus, it takes strength to forgive, but I don't feel strong. What a sick lyric. Also, another really cool lyric is hurt people. We both drew blood, but those cuts were never equal. Dude, what a sick way to take a cliche and then like just really, really, really cool. Just a cool way to take a cliche. Another lyric that I thought was really cool was flowers filled with vitriol. Now, I don't know what the word vitriol means, and I had to go look it up after this because I had heard it in a 1975 song, and that's my favorite band. Maddie Healy from the 1975s uses plenty of words that I've never heard before, so I kind of didn't really think anything of it. But when Olivia used it, I was like, all right, I think I got to learn what this word means. And I'll pull it back up. I looked it up yesterday. But vitriol definition is cruel or bitter cynicism. So just a really, really interesting lyric. I like when artists, Taylor Swift does it a lot, uses lyrics that you don't typically use in American language and that exist in the American language, but we don't just use them frequently in talking, and adds them to her songs. I think that's a really cool aspect of Taylor's songwriting skills. Going on, I would like to also talk about the fact that I feel like the pop punk leans even more into like alternative. Like it has a real, again, uniqueness to it, being Olivia's original sound, which I thought was really cool. Talking about the piano ballads, really, really, really beautiful piano sound. I remember back in the first album, the Sour album, the behind the scenes videos and stuff. Dan Nigro had the upright piano, the Yamaha, in his studio. I'm curious if that's where they recorded it and what they recorded, because it's a beautiful piano and her voice matches it really well. Her storytelling, again, is really cool. Like you feel like it feels like to some degree a journal entry. The whole album, like it just feels like she's like writing in her journal, telling her feelings, and then put them to music, which I thought was really cool. I would love to see some more behind the scenes. I'd love to know what you think on this in general. Like, did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like? What do you think was cool? Not cool? All around in general, I thought it was a really cool album, really unique. I'm cool to see. I watched a couple of videos of it after the fact. Some of these translate really, really cool to live. So I saw the fact that she's just sold out 4 nights at Madison Square Garden, which is my dream. Which is, exactly like my dream is. My goal for the past 10 years has been to sell out 4 nights at Madison. So like, that's crazy, man. Good for her. So, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this idea for a new series. I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Peace out. And the best way to support this channel is checking out my own original music. Peace.